Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the New Day with Natalie podcast. We are on the last episode of the series where we dived into the avoidant attachment style inside of a variety of different relationships, okay? We learned about avoidant attachment style in friendships, in coworker relationships, in parent-child relationships, and finally, we're going to talk about the avoidant attachment style within a family relationship, okay? Let's dive right in. Typically, someone with an avoidant attachment style within a family relationship has a family that discourages emotions or discourages emotional support, emotional vulnerability. They encourage that person with an avoidant attachment style to not be dependent upon them for emotional support, but actually to be independent and dependent upon themselves to figure things out, be autonomous, just do it all on their own, get away from me, I don't want to feel your emotions, I don't want to hear your hardships, let's just have very surface level relationships that we don't have to talk about the hard stuff and dig deep into our past and dig deep into our wounds and feel all of our traumas. Like, that is uncomfortable, so let's just not do any of that. Growing up in an environment where vulnerability was seen as a weakness or being emotional and needing help from someone else made you feel like you were wrong, you were bad, you were weak, like, you should figure it out on your own, you're not strong. That can definitely lead to someone feeling like they want to distance themselves from their family members or people that made them feel like shit, made them feel like they were weak if they had emotions, right? In order to be by themselves, to protect themselves so that if emotions ever do bubble to the surface, their family isn't there to see them, call them out, and make you feel weak. Instead, it gives that person that sometimes has emotions and was distanced and has that avoidant attachment style to then feel a sense of independence. And so that person with an avoidant attachment style feels like they have control over the situation because they've distanced themselves from their family. So now their family can't make them feel weak, can't make them feel wrong, can't make them feel bad about themselves if sometimes they're emotional. But now that they're completely not emotional and they're very independent and on the surface they're very confident and they have their life together and all of that, their parents, their family can't make them feel bad anymore. Again, that's why someone with an avoidant attachment style is so controlling over everything because they like the way that things are, and the way that things are, nothing can hurt them. But if things start to change and people start to get too close, that's when it becomes dangerous. That's when it becomes a threat. And they go right back into the cycle of when they were a little kid and they were the only ones that could protect themselves. And they didn't have that much power because they were under the house of their parents that were making them feel like shit or neglecting them or not giving them the love and attention that they needed. How does the avoidant attachment style show up within that family dynamic? Someone with an avoidant attachment style will avoid deep conversations at all costs with their family, okay? And they will keep all of their interactions with their family very surface level. They will probably pick very specific stories that they want to share with their family, different life updates that they feel comfortable sharing, but they're all surface level and they've thought these through a lot. They don't want to give them too much information because they could then use their vulnerable story against them at some point or use their vulnerable story and make them feel weak or bad or wrong, okay? Again, sends them right back to their childhood, okay? So a lot of times, think about like Thanksgiving, all right? If you feel really uncomfortable going back to see your family, it's like you feel this resistance and you're like, I don't want to like talk about where I'm at in life right now because I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea how I'm going to make money. I have no idea when I'll find my husband or my wife. Like, I just feel lost. You don't want to be that vulnerable to your family. So you show up to Thanksgiving like, I have a great job. I'm making money. I'm really happy. And it's like not even you, but you're showing up as that person because it's what feels safe. Because you felt comfortable sharing basic surface level stuff. But if you share too much more, they could start asking questions. They could start like trying to get more information out of you that could make you feel really shitty. Like, what do you mean you're not making money? Like, how do you survive then? Like, how are you paying for your rent? Like, what are you going to do? And like these type of questions could cause like create a cocktail of anxiety and also make you want to just distance yourself and run away and just escape to your safety, which is just being by yourself when you can't hurt yourself. That's what you could feel a lot of times, maybe going to Thanksgiving, maybe family birthday parties, different family events, things like that, okay? Even just like a phone call with your family. Like if that makes you extremely uncomfortable, it could mean you have that avoidant attachment style with your family. Another sign is you feel extremely drained or overwhelmed by family gatherings, okay? And you just need like a couple of days after just to get your space, just to like refresh yourself, refresh your mind, and just refresh your body, because it was so overwhelming and draining, okay? Because you have to show up as this person that really isn't the most authentic version of you and just like prove to them that like you have your life together and that you're happy, or just not share the things that really make you you. And so it's exhausting after a while, especially if everyone in the family is asking you the same question. It can feel like you're in court and everyone's asking you these questions and you're just like, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. And it's like, yes, you did. Like, tell us the truth. And it's just overwhelming. Okay. I know it's kind of like exaggerating, but I know for me, when I was going through a breakup, I definitely turned into more of an avoidant towards my family. I isolated myself a lot from my family. I didn't go to a lot of family gatherings. I, try not to call my family as much, although I did call my mom and dad a lot, but like everyone else in my family, I just kind of like distanced myself because it made me feel safe. I didn't want to talk about my breakup. I didn't want to be vulnerable in that way, even though my family is so loving and they wouldn't make me feel bad. I just had something in my head that told me, if I share too much, they're going to ask too many questions and it's going to make me feel really sad. It's going to make me feel weak. It's going to make me feel like I should have broke up with him a long time ago. It's going to make me feel dumb and stupid, just all the negative things. So I decided to distance myself so much that they couldn't hurt me and that I create a space where it's just me, and that's how I felt safe. Even though in reality, that's terrible, because your family, my family at least, loves me and supports me and wanted to be there for me. But during that time, I had to just be there for myself. That's like what I believed. Again, that's the avoidant attachment mindset that I had. Another sign is you feel a sense of duty towards your family, but not emotional closeness. So if you feel like you're obligated to go to Christmas, your family Christmas, because you have to, it's the holidays, not because you want to be there with your family and just talk and catch up and be emotionally close to everyone. If that's the way you're thinking about things, you might lean towards that avoidant attachment, okay, within your family relationships. Another sign is you're experiencing guilt or discomfort whenever family members express strong emotions or need support. So it's almost like the other way as well. If your family comes to you and is asking for all this help, or is just like going through a really hard time, and you're like, I don't know how to handle emotions. Like, you never taught me how to do that growing up, and I don't want to be that person for you now. So I remember for me, talking with my grandma and papa, I called them all the time. And there was one phone call when they were becoming super vulnerable with me, and they were sharing some things with me about how they felt towards the family, and they were feeling kind of left out. And so I didn't know how to handle that. I was like, I love you and I want to be there for you, but I don't know how to fix the problem. I don't know what to do. So I backed up altogether. I was like, that's what made me feel safe. I like distanced myself, even though they were like just sharing with me how they felt. Not in a way that I had to fix it, but just to share and just be close. And so in that situation, it was kind of tough, but I noticed now, like, that was definitely the avoidant attachment mindset that was still in effect at that point in time. Let's talk about how avoidantly attached people feel within family dynamics. People with an avoidant attachment style care about their family so much. They love their family so much. They want the best for them. They want them all to be healthy and happy and all the good things. But they struggle to feel really connected to their family. It's almost like they feel like an outsider. They feel like if they show up, like it's not going to be like a benefit to the family gatherings. It's not going to benefit anyone during the family gatherings. It feels like they just are there, kind of like a fly on the wall. It's like you don't really have to be there. It can feel like you're not really connected to anyone in the family, okay? Even though you love and care about them, it's almost like, well, if I don't show up to this thing, or if I don't call them on that day, it's not going to like destroy a relationship, and it also make me feel safer. So that's kind of the mindset that someone with an avoidant attachment style might have. Avoidantly attached people can feel definitely emotionally disconnected from their siblings, from their parents, from their entire family, okay? Even if they see them often, okay? It doesn't matter how often you're together, that emotional disconnect is just not there, okay? It's almost like if other people in your family also have that avoidant attachment style, it's like all these people are together under one roof, and everyone has like an uncomfortable emotion that they want to talk about. Like they might hold grudges against someone, or like they're just mad at their cousin for not showing up to their birthday party, or just whatever it is. And no one says anything. Everyone just shows up and it's pleasant and they're just together, but no one ever gets vulnerable. No one ever opens up and shares what's going on. Like if they're frustrated that you didn't bring the appetizer, or you didn't say you love me, or you didn't call and tell me happy birthday, whatever it is, no one says anything. So you're just kind of sitting there and the grudges kind of grow, but it's like you still love your family. But again, if you never speak what's wrong, then that problem is just kind of like sitting there. And if you just fix the problem, talked about it, and let it go, there'd be so much more space to become emotionally close with your family. Does that make sense? Also, someone with an avoidant attachment style within family relationships will have a very hard time expressing love, whether that's verbal or physical. So saying like, I love you, mom, love you, dad, or giving like hugs and kisses to your family. This can even mean like if you get married and your spouse says you can call my parents like mom and dad. If the person that you married, like your husband or wife, is like uncomfortable with that, like uncomfortable calling them mom or dad, that could also be a sign of potentially having that avoidant attachment towards family. And that could simply be just because they don't want to be emotionally vulnerable with someone outside of their circle of people that they're close to and feel comfortable with. So kind of opening up and sharing a part of them with a stranger can be uncomfortable, even though it's family. Does that make sense? So it does not feel natural to be affectionate in those ways. Someone with an avoidant attachment style might prefer to handle problems on their own rather than confide in their family, okay? So again, leaning towards being independent, figuring things out on their own, being autonomous, that is the way that it works for avoidantly attached people, okay? Leaning on their family for support is something that's completely foreign to them, so they're not going to start doing that as an adult. And then last, avoidantly attached people within those family relationships will avoid confrontation at all costs, okay? And they'll also struggle to engage in that different emotional discussions. If you have a problem with one of your family members, the avoidantly attached person will not confront their family member. They'll just let it slide. They'll just let it happen, because having that very serious conversation where you're like, this is how I feel, this is what you did to me and it made me feel this way, that could make someone with an avoidant attachment feel extremely uncomfortable, because number one, they're being vulnerable, sharing their feelings, and number two, they're risking a relationship by saying like, I don't want you to treat me that way. So why did you do that? Like, confronting creates conflict, and conflict is uncomfortable for an avoidant. So it's like a huge cycle of like, no, that's uncomfortable, not for me. Many avoidants just feel very trapped within family expectations. And so that leads to a push and pull dynamic that can feel really overwhelming and exhausting, okay? So whether your family is like, okay, you need to be a doctor, you need to be like super successful in life, you need to live in like this zip code, it can feel very high pressure if that isn't the life that you wanted to live or the direction that you took. So going to family gatherings can make you immediately feel like a child again, where they're scolding you and making you feel like the path that you took is wrong and you are bad and you are weak for not choosing what they told you to do. So that can make interactions uncomfortable with your family as well. Let's talk about how to be more secure within your family relationships if you have that avoidant attachment style. These are some things that I've implemented that really help me open up again and just have very healthy, open, secure relationship with my family. So the first tip I have, I always say this, is take small steps towards vulnerability, okay? So start slow, like choose low pressure conversations, such as just like texting your brother, texting your sister, texting your parents, and then start like calling them if you can, just sharing some personal details about your life, some personal updates about your life. Baby steps, okay? Another thing you can do is reframe emotional expressions as strengths. Understanding that expressing emotions with your family doesn't make you weak, but instead can help you build a stronger connection. When you flip the script and think about it that way, it really can make your relationship much stronger and deeper and more authentic. The next tip I have is to set some healthy boundaries. This can also make you feel like you're in control and safe. Avoidants often confuse closeness with enmeshment. Learning to set healthy emotional boundaries can make any family interaction a lot less overwhelming and a lot more safe. So an example of an emotional boundary can be, I'm not going to talk about my love life with my family, but everything else I'll tell them. And that's it. And then another tip is acknowledge and challenge your old patterns. That's the best way to let go and move on. When you catch yourself acting in your old ways, in your own old patterns, catch yourself, ask yourself, why am I doing this? What am I protecting myself from? And then try to choose a different action. Try to choose a different thought process and see how that makes you feel. Again, all baby steps. Take baby steps to change your attachment style. That is it for today's podcast episode. And that was the last episode in our series, the Avoidant Attachment Style and the variety of different relationships. If you guys have a very specific relationship issue and you want to tell me all about it and ask for my help and my advice, feel free to sign up for a video call down below. I will leave a link for that. I also wrote a book on how to become more secure. If you're interested in that as well, I'll leave a link for that one down below. That is it for today. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.